Yo, what is good? It's Mob, and I'm here for my first piece of content for the YouTube channel. Um, this is gonna be a long one. This is gonna be a track from scratch, geared towards basically everyone, so you can kind of have like an insight on what I do. Now, disclaimer: I may not be the smartest producer of all time. I'm going to explain this in the terms that I understand it, and it I really hope that my understanding conveys a good lesson to beginners as well as producers who already know what they're doing and are comfortable with themselves and their music. Um yeah, it's gonna be a long one. So I would normally start with an intro, and I think let's do some digging for a preset here. Now, I like to use Flex just like right off the bat and start scrolling through presets and just finding something that, piques my interest. No, that's goofy. Um, yeah, because I can do melodic things. So, ooh, that's kind of a cool pad. Okay, I have some inspiration for that. Do like a sudden death type lead intro, and you know, okay, so right here, basically what I did with this is, for anybody new to using FL Studio, what I like to do whenever I want to high pass something to cut the low end out or even like go past that and cut out whatever I don't need, whatever's going to clash with the sub bass that I will add in the coming process. What I would do is go to these arrows where it says presets right here, this preset menu, right click, go over here, right here, to 20 hertz plus 18 kilohertz cut, which means it has a cut or a point where it has a really sharp curve that's cutting all of the low end from or at 20 hertz, and the same thing's happening at 18 kilohertz, which is way up here at this point here. This is your low pass point, this is your high pass point. And what I mean by high pass is you cut the low and you let the highs pass through. And for low pass, you let the lows pass through. You cut all the high end out. Now, for an example of what that sounds like, just in case people don't know, normal signal, high pass signal. You can hear the difference in the frequencies. More low end, a lot less low end. Now for low pass, notice how it takes all of the high end and the mids and sweeps them away. That's going to be an effect that we go into more later. Okay, so basically what I wanted to do is high pass this, and normally I'd high pass it to about like 110 to 120 hertz for like melody synths or stuff like that. Now, I don't really like to keep the reverb and delay from the plugin. I like to do it myself. Now it sounds like super dry. There's no echo, there's no reverb or anything after it. Voice crack. I normally would add like my own. Now going into like reverb, the only things you really need to pay attention to are the decay, size, diffusion, and the low and high cut. I don't really screw with anything else. I don't like This is like pre-delay. It basically delays the reverb signal, so like you hear the reverb like starts immediately, and you put the pre-delay up, comes in later. I don't ever use that. I don't really find the use for it in my process. So I'm not gonna explain everything that comes with this, but basically high cut introduces more high frequencies into the reverb. Low cut cuts the lows out of the reverb signal. Decay, basically how long it is. Now I want to get like a good happy medium. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Now size. I don't really know how to explain this in technical terms, but it creates a fullness of the reverb. If you think of like a small room, this sounds like it's bouncing off like metal walls, but you got this, and it sounds like it's in an open area where the sound is free to echo. Think of a church, how you'd like do a clap in a church, and it's a pretty big room, so it has a lot of room to echo, so it has a longer decay. That's basically what this is. It basically creates fullness and determines the size of the reverb and all that. The fusion, I don't know what that shit does. It probably has something to do with the amount of reflections. I mean, each line representing a reflection, and that's basically my understanding of how a reverb works. Now I think we could add a little bit of compression here. I'm basically gonna get everything that I'm gonna use out of the way for the rest of the project. I'm just kind of explaining what I'm doing here, for the beginners who don't have an understanding of what this is, and yeah, simple as that. Now, this compressor, OTT, everyone uses this. And if they don't use this, they use multiband compression in a similar form. I'm not going to go into multiband compression. There's a ton of tutorials on what it means and what it does and how to use it. This is basically the most... Well, it's in the name. OTT stands for over the top. And basically, this compression is way over the top, and it compresses the shit out of any signal you put through it. Like, just say, like, you put everything back to normal. Like, depth at 100, time at 100, all of these settings at 100 or 0 for the gain. You can hear how smashed it is. Now, you tone down the depth, it brings a little bit of the original signal back through, and this is where like fine-tuning and stuff, it's all the taste. I don't know exactly how this works. I like to use downward because it kind of takes a little bit of that over-the-top compression and dials it back rather than smashing everything. It kind of lets a little bit more of the signal through while, maintaining a little bit of loudness. So, yeah, I think that's what I'll add for this. Maybe if I want to add a little bit more, I'll do that further on in the project. But now I need to get into the meat of the process here, like writing a melody. I think I'll do like a big room house thing almost. Okay. So just, I'm not going to explain piano roll. Uh, it's not that you should know it or anything, but there's it take a lot of time for me to explain it and everything, it like pertaining with notes. But I can go into like the snap stuff. Like, so what I like to do for my grid is, I don't know why it's on quarter step, but half step. It allows for snapping to each of these little squares, which is a 30-second note. I like to have 30-second note snap for when I'm editing in MIDI. My MIDIs are very precise a lot of the time, so it doesn't really get more precise in my process than, snapping to a 30-second note. If you want to know what a 30-second note is, go learn a little bit of theory. It'll take you like 5 minutes to understand, like, subdivisions, and like, you got your quarter, eighth, 16th, 32nd, stuff like that. You'll learn that in literally 5 minutes. It's simple. But now, if you really want to get precise with it, you can hold Alt, click, and drag. That was loud. You can hold Alt, click, and drag, and it has no snap. So you can edit as precisely as you want. I'm not going to do that right now because this is going to be like, obviously, like, Big Room House is pretty quantized is the right word for it. Now, I could do like a okay. I want it to be like nice and snappy, so I'll go in here. Like, if you know anything about ADSR, attack, decay, attack, hold, decay, sustain, release. I'm just gonna take the volume envelope on flex. You go to the release and you turn it down. Now, luckily, every single preset that comes with flex, like, no matter the pack, it always has macros, and there's normally a lot more than like these four. There's a lot. It just kind of depends on the preset. Mess around with it. Do whatever you can to make the sound like unique to whatever you're doing. Not that it's a bad thing if you use like the stock presets, but who gives a shit, honestly. But I do kind of recommend that you tweak and learn a little bit from these presets. I think I want it to be more detuned. I want the super saw to be more detuned. So I'll add like a chorus on top of it. Now, I always turn the metronome on whenever I'm writing something like this, just to make sure that I can like keep track of the beat and make sure everything fits contextually. Now we'll move on to the next part of the melody. Now, having these little variations is incredibly important to keep people's attention. I don't like to slouch when it comes to intros. A lot of people just like do like a simple thing and then focus entirely on the drop, but I like to add at least a little bit of sauce to my intros. And having stuff like that little that it'll keep interest. Now, what we could do is we can get real fancy with it, and we can add like a slide. So now this already has mono mono voicing, but if it didn't, you could always go into the settings tab of the Fruity wrapper and go to mono, turn this on as well, and just kind of fuck with it. This is basically like the time it takes to slide. See, that takes a while for it to get to, you know, the note that you slide with. I like to have it quick for stuff like this. Now, let's see how that sounds in context. Okay, so copy paste this. Oops. I can produce, I swear. I swear to God. Then we can just like copy paste it, make it 8 bars long. You can just keep this loop if you want. I'm probably gonna end up changing this for like a separate phrasing. I want to make this a little bit more snappy because I like the little bit of tranciness it has, the spacing in between notes. Let's try this an octave up, just to see if it yeah, okay. So I think that's a pretty good lead line for now. So I think at this point I'll add like a bass layer just to sort of, you know, you need a sub bass underneath everything you do, basically. Now, that's not to say like everything needs bass, but normally what I would do is I just go in, create like a separate sub, say like Serum, or you know what, we're gonna do this with stock stuff until the drop, or even stock stuff throughout like the whole, you know what, I'm gonna do this with stock stuff. So I'm gonna go say like 3XOSC, the simplest synthesizer in the whole fucking program. You know, that could basically do anything you want. But now this is normally defaulted to 2 octave separations. This is like 1 octave down, 2 octave down, so it sounds like this. We don't want that. So basically what I do is I turn this off. I turn both of these oscillators off. So I just have the one. Then I'll turn this down as low as I can. And this is just like 2 octaves. But you could just go into MIDI and write it to whatever pitch you want. So I'll just have like a normal sub like this, and then I'll go into this tab, like the one with the plug and the gear, and then go to the volume, and then turn on the envelope, set the attack to just like to where there's barely any attack. and then kind of have it like the same like ADSR as the original sound. And now what I'll do is I'll copy this, but I'm not going to follow it to the T. I'm going to take this, apply it to the sub. Let's see how that sounds. Octave down. Now we'll go in and tweak it. Maybe we'll make like a saw wave. I need to add the slide. Now, we'll make like a basic EQ to cut out all the high end and boost the lows. So same thing, 20 hertz to 18 hertz cut. Now it basically cuts most of the high end out of it. And now I'll add, just to add like a little bit of stereo width in the low end, which a lot of people like really don't like. I'll add a hyper chorus just like I added on this, just to give it a little bit more depth. And then I'll add like an OTT. And set the depth pretty low and the time up quite a bit. And then the downward, I'll use that to kind of like make up the volume that's lost a little bit. And then I'll distort it a little bit. Maybe I don't know how that's gonna turn out, but let's see how that sounds in context. Okay, so I want it to take up a little bit more space than the lead does. And so I'll just like add some more release. Or I'll even just write into MIDI. Now, go here. Okay. So, I'm a huge fan of this tone. We could do this a little bit better with another stock synth. Harmer, come here. And then I have this like set up to make basses right off the bat, like weird Harmer basses. But I'm gonna come here and then like turn this off, set this to saw. Now, what's cool about Harmer is that you can like fade between two different waves. You could have like a saw or square. And right now I kind of want to use a saw, and then like set up the unison to where it's like a nearly a Reese. Don't focus on this. I turned that off because it's not gonna play any sort of part. Now you see how it's got like all that depth behind it? I'm gonna turn this distortion off. I was gonna turn the hyper chorus off. No, I'm not. I'm gonna go here. Soundgoodizer. I know. Taboo. You can't use Soundgoodizer. That plugin sucks. But you go to it, and beef in the mono signal. And, you know, mono, stereo, that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different topic you can look up. Like, search up mono versus stereo. And then, like, after that, you'll learn about, like, mid-side EQ, which is basically EQing the stereo and the mono signals separately. I'm probably not going to go into that. I don't really do a whole lot of mid-side EQ until like after the track is done. But yeah, so basically we got like just a beefy Reese. Now we're going to take this and move it up an octave, because this is already set up to be at the 4th. Now, turn this down. I want this to be even more detuned. Now that was on B. Now we're gonna keep that. We're gonna keep that way up there. And we're gonna copy this. And now do this. Oops, I set that to the wrong note. Oops. No. Just copy paste this back. I had that messed up as well over here because I just copy pasted it, didn't even think about it. Now we're gonna make that like super distorted and see what happens. Turn up the reverb even more to where it takes up even more space. Now, a lot of people will get pretty concerned with how much you clip your stuff. But, I mean, if it sounds good, it sounds good. If you like it, you like it. Different DAWs have different ways of handling clipping, and FL's is pretty good. Ableton's is better. But, you know, you can still get away with clipping pretty hard. Now, if you're looking at my master, there's a few things on it. Mishby, you can get this for free. It's basically donationware. It's on Freak Show Industries website. What I do is I come over here, this little button. This is what a lot of people miss whenever they're like making the preset, because like if you have this, it fucks up the quality. So you turn it off, and yeah. This is like the main thing that people miss, but turn everything down, every single knob, turn it all the way down. It's desync especially, it'll mess up your pitching. Come over here, turn these sliders all the way down, and you basically get like a super compressed, like soft clip signal right off the bat, and it makes everything super fat. Now, this compressor is kind of just, Maximus is a multi-band limiter. So basically just like really, really soft compression. You notice how like the points are at different heights here. This top point, I'm not gonna get into this. It's boring. It doesn't really take much. I'll have the project for you to dissect after I'm done making it. So you come here and basically tweak the settings to whatever you like. Now, a lot of the time, like say you go to the default, it's gonna have this like capped off at like 0, and it's gonna compress like anything that, you know, boosts over that. It's gonna like flatten it. Now, I don't want that, so I'll like drag this point all the way up, mid all the way up, low all the way up. The master, I'll set like the threshold up a little bit and the ceiling up, and on obviously do that as well, because that would have been pretty embarrassing if I didn't do that. Okay, so now I'm just listening to the sub and I'm starting to realize that I don't like it. So I'm gonna make it even more detuned. And you know what? Maybe I'll do some shit like this. I'll go default and I'll just like turn these down. So I can keep some of the high signal and still have like my lows. Now this is a little bit under compressed, I think. Now I'll probably add like a delay, just to kind of, you know, fill in space a little bit. I really like delay 3. Delay 3 is really nice. It's really easy to use. Mainly I mess with the feedback. Like I'll take this level down a little bit because it'll ring out a little bit too much. But the time is going to be crucial here. So I'll set this to like this would be considered a dotted quarter note delay. This is a quarter note delay. It's like right on beat. And but I'll set it to this, turn the offset off, or turn it to turn the pan to the left, and then set it to ping pong, so it kind of bounces back and forth in the stereo space, just to kind of give it a little bit more depth. Now I'll turn this wet down because, you know, the signal by itself is pretty overbearing and covers up the sound and is kind of poop. But you want something that like kind of just fills in empty spaces. Now, what if I Now I'm going to start messing with like the ADSR of the filter and making it to where the cutoff like decays pretty sharply. So I'll do this and then see what's up here. Man, that's pretty distorted. I probably need to fix that a little bit. Now we got the two main elements. I think I like that pretty. I think I like that. That's pretty good. And then now I'll add stuff like behind it, like a high pitched drone. I take back what I said. I'm gonna use stuff I'm more accustomed to because it's gonna move the lesson along a lot easier. And most people already have stuff like Serum. And if you don't, you can get it. It's the most popular wavetable synth there is. Now, a good alternative to this would be freeware like Vital. It's not freeware, it's donationware. And I think, well, it's free. It's free, but you get extra stuff if you like pay. But yeah, go download this. This is honestly better than Serum. Now, the interface is a little bit different, but it's basically the same thing. It has everything right in front of you. And like the effects tab is basically the same. Your matrix is yeesh, but I don't really like the way this looks. Because it's really only because I'm used to Serum. But yeah, get this if you don't have Serum. But same concept sort of applies. I'm going to be making something pretty simple. So, I'm going to make like a really high-pitched drone type thing. Oh. Someone on the phone. Okay. Now, I had my other track solo. Now, what I'll do is I'll turn this down like really low, set a reverb on it with like a pretty high decay, and turn the wet all the way up and the dry signal all the way down. And then I'll like set the unison really high. And then I'll detune it. Now, that's missing a lot of like high profile in the frequency spectrum. So I'll like go over here, EQ some of the mids out, and then turn up the highs quite a bit. And now I'm going to go here to the envelope. I'm going to set the attack to like 300 milliseconds or something. And then I'm going to come over here and then draw a note for however long of a duration you want. This is just what I'm doing like currently. Now I can't hardly hear that. Now, I'm going to make this like a simple like 16 bar intro. Now, that's basically all I want to add for this. And now that's like the synths out of the way. So I'll name this like oops. But, you know, same pattern. Go over here. Rename and color. And I'll name this like lead. This keyboard's so sensitive. And then I'll like I won't even color it. I'll just like name it. Reset. So it's like name it lead, and then you got sub, and then you got, well, I keep doing that. I'm like super like used to making patterns unique. I don't name things a lot of the time, but I'm just doing it for simplicity's sake, just so you can keep track of what's happening and where everything is. Just call this like drone or something. Now you can kind of keep track of this. So now I would add like effects. Go download like effect samples and, you know, whatever you like. Like I'll take like a downlifter or a faller, as some people call it. Something that sounds a little bit like this. I'll add this to right here. then like I'll take the clip and I will reverse it and have it like rise back into the next section. And then I'll kind of start writing the build up now. Now that I have like a simple downlifter, we're gonna come back to that. And so basically what I'll do is I'll like take a quick section and I'll start like repeating it. And now to build tension, we'll like make this quicker. Now it's like a and then we're gonna have like a pitch rise and like frequency shifter and whatnot. But I'm gonna take the sub out right there. And oops, I had that double stacked. Now, I could do like a 2-bar pre-drop, but I don't really want to. I have a few more ideas. So yeah, just for like basic structuring. Now, what I'll do to like make a build up, like, and basically do everything off of like one bus. I'll highlight these tracks and I will right click on one of these arrows. Wherever you want to route these three, you right click and go route to this track only. And it'll basically send the signal from these three into this one track, and you can process them on the same track. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a frequency shifter. Oops, wrong one, I guess. So KHS frequency shifter. I'm going to go right here. Now, basically what I did there is I click this button and then I like mess with the parameter, set it back to whatever the default value was, come back up here. It basically logs your last tweaked knob. Right click, create automation clip. And it'll create an automation clip for that one parameter you messed with. Now, basically what I wanted to do is a bit long, so I'm gonna do this. Then I want this to rise slightly. And then I want this, I'm gonna automate the volume. Any like FL stock parameter, you can just like go right click it and create automation clip. But for stuff in like third-party VSTs, you have to do that thing where you have to like modulate the parameter with this on, and it'll like log it, and then you make an automation clip based on that. But oops, the default value of all these clips is 80, and what I like to do is whenever I go into my pre-drop, I'll either do like a short decay or I'll just like cut it entirely. Now it's like silent right there, so it gives all the space in the world for the pre-drop to do its thing. Now I want to pitch it up. So FL is a stock pitch shifter. Right here, set the density up a little bit, the pitch. I'm gonna automate the mix of it to come in right when the buildup happens, because pitch shifters often have like a stuttery effect that they'll just like have happen. But I'll have it like slowly rising over time. Now, what I like to do, because these, when it starts pitching up, it starts to get like really, really high pitched and like piercy. So what I'll do is I'll do like a something like this. I'll like automate the mix of like a EQ or something. And whenever I want to start filtering something down, I'll take this and I'll you know what? I don't want that soft curve. I want a hard curve like that. And I'll take it and I'll filter it down just slightly. It's not very slight, but just like that. So now it's not as hard as on the ears as opposed to this. Do that just slightly. And then yeah. Now what I will do to add even more tension is I'll add something called Endless Smile. Now, I've had this version from like way back when, and it was obviously not legally done. But, you know, I got this license offline. I just found it. I'm a criminal. In game. So, but basically what this is it's basically just like Buildup. It's the Buildup plugin. So, I'll show you what it does. So just do the same thing with the automation. Create automation clip. Come over here, and this is basically like the intensity. And it basically adds like a combination of reverb and delay. And does something called like a washout. It basically just turns it into one block of sound. Rather, it meshes it together using reverb and delay. Now, as opposed to that, you can still hear like all the individual steps. You add this, way more tension. Creates a riser out of it. Now, I don't like that very much. Take this. When you like hard cut something, or like whenever you like have an EQ modulation and you like hard set it to 0, it'll have like this weird little thing where it does like a low end like blip. I don't like that. I hate that actually. So I'll like delete that point. I will delete that point that goes to 0 and it's gone. So now, okay, even right here, I'll cut out like little pieces of the automation. I'll have this like this, and then that like that. I'll cut this to 0 and have like a little glitch fill or something. And basically, you know, add little ear candy type stuff. We'll get into the build-up drums in a moment. I think we're pretty good as far as like the synths rising and everything. Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty satisfied with that. Now, I think in the intro I'll add like a hat sample. So, shout out Mob Sample Pack Volume 2. Hats, open hats. Not that one. Do like this one. Turn it down a little bit, because these hats are pretty loud compared to this stuff. So I'll like put this in my drums, and I'll just sort of like repeat it on quarter notes and have like a sense of pulse going, like percussion. You know, keeping the tempo, letting everybody know where the 1, 2, 3, 4 is. And I will keep that going right there. and we'll stop it right about here and let the other build-up drums do their job in this part. I need to cut these because these still are making sound right here, even though it looks like it's basically silent. I'll just cut that out. Now you can't hear anything. Now, what I'll do, if I don't have it in the intro doing like a clap pattern, like also shout out Mob Sample Pack Volume 2. It's pretty good. You know, because I made it specifically for my workflow and what I like to do, and I'm selling it for $25 on Gumroad. You should go buy it because it's basically a piece of my brain. So, anyway, back into it. If you don't have like a clap pattern in the intro, you could just like do some simple like clap on the 3. Now, I'm gonna do something pretty funky and cut out the sub right here to let it build its own tension. Now, I don't think I want this in the intro. I think I'll like take it and put it. Oops. I will take it and put it right here in the build-up. Have that clap pattern go through the build-up. And then I'll like repeat it here on the quarter note. And I'm going to turn this down even more. Go back to the compressor, make sure my levels are right. Now, I'm going to turn these down even more. And then I'll have like I'll take like one of these snares, pitch it up, and then like have it going pretty fast, like 16th notes. Turn this down like a lot because it's going to be pretty loud. You're going to see why I mix stuff like so much quieter than my intros, or in my intros. It's a mixing technique. Basically, I mix super, or like way quieter in my intros than I do in like my drops. You'll see how loud I make my drops here in a minute. But once we get this build up finished, I'll go into detail about how I use volume to sort of add impact. We could take this and make it quicker. I think we should modulate the pitch of it. So I'll set this like stretch, because I don't want the, basically when you pitch something and resample, it'll like stretch it way out. Normally, it didn't do that right there, but stretch is basically the only one you can like, or stretch pro. You stretch this and then you like mess with the pitch. Did I already make the automation clip for it? No, I didn't. So I'll go here and create automation clip for pitch, and then I'll either make it rise or fall depending on whatever I want to do. I think I'm gonna have it fall for this. Okay, so that seems pretty good. I'm gonna add a little bit more effects here. Shit, even another downlifter. do this impact. Turn this down a lot because it's pretty fucking loud. Maybe not right there. Oh, I had it right here. I never do that. I'm like experimenting right now. I don't even want an impact. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll have like this extra long one. I'm gonna put this on track 5 and EQ it a little bit. It's kind of not in the frequency spectrum that I want. That's loud. Do the same thing with these two. Cut it out right here so it has room for the glitch fill. And take like a little laser thing from the sample pack. I'll do some shit like this and then set this to E2 mono because I really like how it keeps like relative pitch, and then I'll like pogo it to make it like kind of fit the rhythm. Turn it down a little bit. Then I'll take like a bass. Say like a glitch or something. Do you take the weirdest one? Take this and fade it up a little bit so it creates like a riser. Add another riser because there's not nearly enough, because you need to stack as many effects on top of each other as possible. This is going to be a little bit loud, so we're going to take this, turn it down, and I'm going to pitch it all the way up. I'm going to pitch it up hella. So pitch it up an octave, make it a little bit higher, fade it in a little bit more. I don't want it right here though. I want this to start. I think that's pretty good on the risers. Now, I'm going to go sample digging, because now we're going to add vocals to this. And, this is the most fun part for me. This is, like, how the hype really builds. So, gonna set everything where I want it to be. I'm making this is like way more organized than I am normally, but yeah, it's all for you guys. So let's see how the glitch fill sounds. I need to make sure it's pretty good. Okay. Now, this is in the right samples folder. Samples. Go to my pbird folder. Pbird is a artist who does a lot of scratch stuff, and he put out some scratch records that he made. So
let me tell you something. Cut the record.
My favorite one that I've used is Obsession Breaks #1, because it has this Obsessed Scratches Clean Mix 1. This is like $5 on his Bandcamp. Search up pbird on Bandcamp and you'll find it. So I'll take this, put it in my vocals group, and just kind of start like, you know, I'll cut out like a bar, and I'll like, you know what, I'll make this as simple as possible. I'll just like start scrolling through it. So turn this down a little bit.
Making it scratch. Don't try it at home with your dad's stereo, but making it back and forth, making it scratch. Don't. So
I'll just like, I'll look through these files.
Keep on. Keep on.
That's a pretty good one, but I don't want that right now.
Unorthodox.
Unorthodox. Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
How's that? Oh, the fucking lot. It's the ways of the underground, bringing back original.
1, 2, 3, 4, hit it! Listen to me rock, yeah.
Oh, you might recognize that one from fucking the Sigurd remix. That's like the main one.
The original, yeah. Boom, my style's real hip like this.
Ooh, that one's hard. I don't think I'm gonna use that one though. So just keep looking.
Wow, sharp like a dagger.
Sharp like a dagger. That's hard.
And it goes a little something like, my advice, think twice.
My advice, think twice. I used that one in my Dubstep submission.
Bringing you the drama, yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh God.
If somebody can like make a pre-drop with this sample, I would literally kiss them. Because that would sound so fucking good if they got it to fit right in context.
With the offbeat flow.
Word, I'm out of control. Everybody knows I got the skills to pay the bills.
Ooh. I might save that one for a later project.
Where them haters at?
1, 2, 3.
Break a beat, cut,
Scratch and transform. I like that one.
Bust that groove. Are you ready?
Ooh, Lil Jon.
Bust that groove. Scratching? What is it?
When he cut the funky record.
When worst come to worst, my peoples come first.
Yes, sir. Don't stop.
Break it down, boy, no better.
This one is from the Sigurd remix as well.
You drop like a guillotine.
Drop like a guillotine.
Funky, I'm very precise with cuts.
Ooh, I'm very precise. Okay.
Funky, I'm very.
Okay. Okay. I think I got it. So we'll focus on this for a minute. Now I'll turn the metronome back on. I had it on for a little bit longer than I should have earlier, and I'm sorry if that annoyed anybody. But
Very. I'm. I'm very precise. I'm very precise. Very, very precise.
now this is the part where I'll like start like stretching it. Stretch. Now I want this to align with the and of one. So
I'm
slow this down a little bit.
very precise.
And I'll take this part and I'll make it unique, and then I'll stretch it out a little bit more just to kind of fill out that quarter note.
I'm very precise.
Now, what I'm gonna do with this is set it to Stretch Pro. Set this to Stretch Pro as well. Everything's to Stretch Pro, and then I'll pitch it down. Basically, Stretch Pro has format control, and Stretch doesn't. And I like to have that format control, just in case I want it to be like kind of like robotic. Like you could just like set the pitch down.
I'm very precise.
Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna consolidate this and make it just one sample, because working with multiple samples, getting their pitches perfect and everything, I'd rather have it in one sample than everything. Oop, no, I want time selection. That's my bad. Time selection. Go here. Then auto color group. Delete that. And now we have this single file.
I'm very precise. I'm very precise. I'm very precise.
Now I'll like pitch this down in Stretch Pro.
I'm very precise.
Need to add more high end. These pre-computed effects are pretty nice. So basically the EQ knob, you turn it this way, adds more high end, takes out a little bit of the mid signal at the same time, but
I'm very precise.
it adds like some high end content to it. So I'll take this, route it to its own track.
I'm very precise. I'm very precise.
See how this sounds in context.
I'm very precise.
Okay, we don't even need to pitch it. It sounds great.
I'm very precise.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good right there. So I'll take this. I'll add like 3 OTTs just to like impress the absolute shit out of it. And then I'll EQ the low out of it, and I'll take another EQ and just kind of shape it.
I'm very precise.
Maybe not that much.
I'm very precise.
Now, what I will do is I will duplicate the sample, make it unique, and pitch it down one, so it's like super dissonant.
I'm very precise.
No, I won't do that. I won't do that. Sounds kind of weird. So, maybe not 3 OTTs, but 2. 2 should be fine.
I'm very precise.
Now, a cool trick for stereo is the comb filter. So you come into KHS comb filter, kilohertz comb filter. I don't know if this is one of their free ones. I bought the bundle for like $600 or however much it was. I forget. I don't know how much I paid for it. It's a very long time ago. But so basically you like set the frequency to, or the cutoff to like 100 hertz ish. It doesn't really matter. Like 1 hertz doesn't really matter. But you set the polarity to minus stereo, and you set the mix to like half. It gives it like a really nice mono compatible stereo signal. And I want this vocal to be somewhat stereo.
I'm very precise.
Now I'm gonna add like a little bit of extra flair to this. Maybe I will pitch it down just a little bit. Turn the format down.
I'm very precise.
Okay, a couple more things I want to do before we move on with the pre-drop vocal. Just so it sounds a lot better in context. I'll take a kick, right? And then I will come in here to the sample window, E3 mono, and then stretch it real far. And then I'll take like the beginning pitch part out of it. Or I'll like cut it at like a quarter note. And I'll take this part, I will reverse it, cut the length down a lot, reverse, do this, turn this off because that's completely fucking me. Now you come to this, and you kind of have like a little sweep into a little pre-drop thing. Now, glitches. Do this type shit. What the hell? Never seen that happen before. But come to like right here, cut this bitch. I'll take like the tail end of this, and then I'll have like a little glitch type thing going on. Now I'm gonna do this and have this as like the mini sweep into the glitch fills.
I'm very precise. I'm very precise.
Sounded pretty nice. Maybe turn this down a little bit and then add like a little bit of reverb on top of it, but like really low decay, and then a high size, but the diffusion is real low, so it only deflects off like a few surfaces.
I'm very precise.
I'll like EQ it a little bit more.
I'm very precise.
Okay. There's that.
I'm very precise.
That sounds pretty good. So I don't want to stretch it. Don't do that. I want to have this be somewhat of a riser as well.
I'm very precise.
Now, I really like Cashmere Sample Pack for like really short risers. Sounds of Cashmere. Volume 3 has the mini risers. You go into sweeps and lasers, sweeps up, mini. Do this type shit. Add another one. Now let's see how this sounds in context. Might add this one instead of that because it doesn't sound very good. Much better.
I'm very precise.
Yeah, that's fucking it right there. Alright, let's play from the top and see what's up.
I'm very precise.
Nice. This is a really good start. I think I think this is a pretty good way to end the video, or this first video. I basically taught you how to make an intro. Or how at least I make an intro. However you do your stuff is how you do it. Do whatever the fuck you want. It's music. That's how it goes. Yeah. Any recommendations that you want for content, I'm always up for answering you guys and taking whatever you want to do and fucking doing it. I'm like super open-minded to that. I'm new to content, so I might as well just like start doing new stuff, right? And it's all to the end of me teaching you guys and like obviously entertaining. Hopefully this is entertaining so far. Hopefully I wasn't like, paint drying. This is going to be completely unedited, so you don't miss anything. You get to hear all my voice cracks. You get to hear all my wheezes, all my fucking messed up parts of it. But I want this track from scratch to be completely raw. I want you to see like my full process, like every second of it, if you're down for it. So, yeah, I think this is a pretty good start for an intro. Yeah, comment whatever you want in the replies, for content. I'm always open for suggestions. I am really excited to get on this journey. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's this is gonna be a pretty long running series. I want to make this track as good as possible, right? And then I'll probably end up releasing it for free and giving you guys the project or whatever on like the Patreon. No, I'm probably gonna end up giving the project in like the description of the video. That just seems fair from like my first track from scratch. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I didn't talk too much, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.